everyone, thanks for joining me today. Today we are going to work on our next letter, and that is E. E stands for engineer. So we're going to read a fun book today called Rosie, Revere, Engineer. Do you remember what an author does? An author is the one who writes the words. And our author today is Andrea Beatty. Do you remember what the person is called who draws the pictures in a book? That's an illustrator. And the illustrator of this book is David Roberts. So let's hear this story. This story of Rosie Revere, who dreamed of becoming a great engineer. In Lila Grier's classroom at Blue River Creek, young Rosie sat shyly, not daring to speak. But when no one saw her, she peeked in the trash for treasures to add to her engineer stash. And late at night, Rosie rolled up her sleeves and built in her hideaway under the eaves. Alone in her attic, the moon high above, dear Rosie made gadgets and gizmos she loved. And when she grew sleepy, she hid her machines far under the bed where they'd never be seen. Look at all the building she's doing. How amazing. When Rosie was young, she had not been so shy. She worked with her hair swooping over one eye and made fine inventions for uncles and aunts, a hot dog dispenser and helium pants. Woo! The uncle she loved was a zookeeper, Fred. She made him a hat to keep snakes off his head. From parts of a fan and some cheddar cheese spray, which everyone knows will keep pythons away. That's pretty silly. And when it was finished, young Rosie was proud. But Fred slapped his knee and he chuckled out loud. He laughed till he whizzed and his eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who stood there embarrassed, perplexed, and dismayed. She looked at the cheese hat and then looked away. "I love it," Fred hooted. "Oh, truly I do." But Rosie Revere knew that could not be true. She stuck the cheese hat back on her shelf, and after that day, kept her dreams to herself. I feel bad for her. That's not too nice. I feel like she should still keep on building if she loves it. And that's how it went until one autumn day. Her oldest relation showed up for a stay. Her great-great-aunt Rose was a true dynamo who worked building airplanes a long time ago. She told Rosie tales of things she had done and goals she had checked off her list one by one. She gave a sad smile as she looked to the sky. "The only thrill left on my list is to fly. But time never lingers as long as it seems. I'll chalk that up one day to an old lady's dreams." That night, as Rosie laid wide-eyed in bed, a daring idea crept into her head. Could she build a gizmo to help her aunt fly? She looked at the cheese hat and said, "No, not I." But questions are tricky and some hold on tight, and this one kept Rosie awake through the night. So when dawn approached and the red streaks lit the sky, young Rosie knew just how to make her aunt fly. What do you think her idea is going to be? Do you think you know? She worked and she worked till the day was half gone, then hauled her cheese copter out onto the lawn to give her invention a test just to see the ridiculous flop it might just turn out to be. Does she seem scared anymore to try out her idea? Strapped into the cockpit, she flipped on the switch. The Hello Cheese copter sputtered and twitched. It floated a moment and whirled round and round, then froze for a heartbeat, and crashed to the ground. Then Rosie heard laughter and turned around to see the old woman laughing but slapping her knee. She lay till she whizzed, and her eyes filled with tears, all to the hurry of Rosie Revere, who thought, oh, never, never again will I try to build something to sputter or spin or build with a lever, a switch, or a gear, and never will I be a great engineer. She turned around to leave, but then Great-Great-Aunt Rose grabbed hold of young Rosie and pulled her in close and hugged her and kissed her and started to cry. You did it, hooray! It's a perfect first try. This great flop is over, it's time for the next. Young Rosie was baffled, embarrassed, and perplexed. I failed, said dear Aunt Rosie. It's just made out of trash. Didn't you see the cheese copter crashed? Yes, said her great aunt. It crashed, that is true. But first it did just what it needed to do. Before it crashed, Rosie, before that it flew. Look at all of her ideas that she's recording. Your brilliant first flop was a raging success. Come on, let's get busy and on to the next. She handed a notebook to Rosie Revere, who smiled at her aunt as it all became clear. Life might have failures, but this was not it. The only true failure can come if you quit. Remember what we talked about the design process. You always want to keep improving and keep trying your design. They worked till the sun sneaked away to bed. Aunt Rosie tied her headscarf around Rosie's head and sent her to sleep with a smile ear to ear to dream the bold dreams of a great engineer. At Blue River Creek, all the kids in grade 2 build gizmos and gadgets and doohickeys too. With each perfect failure, they all stand and cheer, but none quite as proudly as Rosie Revere. So boys and girls, today I want you to see what you can build up. I want you to be an engineer and come up with some new invention or something fun that you can do at your house. You can use anything. You saw what Rosie used in the book. She found things that were around her house and laying under her bed. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. If you have magnet builders like these, or wooden blocks or Legos, you can build with that. Or if you have recycled materials like cardboard rolls and tissue boxes or toilet paper rolls, you can use that. So find anything at all and use your imagination just like Rosie, and let's see what you can do. Bye, my future engineers.